Welcome to the Athletes Doing Good podcast. We are so excited to welcome Kennedy today, talk about all about her journey and story to where she got to where she is now. Some listeners may know your story. You've been on a lot of news outlets, and you've been super open on your social media about sharing things that have happened to you. But for those who don't know, in 2021, you flipped your car on an Idaho road and landed upside down on a 30-foot high power line. But yet, here you still are with us today.
Yes. Yeah. Crazy story. I'm super excited to be on the podcast today.
Thanks for joining us. Well, what was going through your mind? Do you remember anything from like that immediate initial happening?
Yeah, I do. So one of my first memories is I was awake the entire time on the power line, but I don't initially remember getting thrown from the vehicle. But as soon as I landed up there, I woke up and all I remember is that it was really dark. I was high in the air, upside down, and I was uncomfortable, not necessarily in pain. Um, and I just was kind of confused. But I knew something wasn't right, so I started to cry. But then I stopped myself from crying because I felt like at that point that was weak and that was a sign of me giving up and that I wasn't going to live if I were to cry. And at that point, I started yelling for help. And then my memory kind of blacks out a little bit. And then I wake up whenever there's so many people underneath me because I lived in a small town and people get curious. So obviously, people show up. And they're just watching me, and I was confused because I was like, why isn't anyone helping me?
Yeah.
And I was just confused why there were so many people too. And it turns out they had to. Obviously, I'm not in the right mindset. They had to turn off the power. I think they brought the wrong truck at one point.
Oh my gosh.
So finally, I was up there for an entire hour, and they got the right truck to come get me. And at this point, the firefighter is coming to me, and I remember just looking at him and say, "You have to get me down." And he was like, we're trying, and obviously he's like panicking but trying to stay calm for me.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I don't have much longer. Like, I need you to get me down. And my memory then blacks out again when they take off when they put on the tourniquet to take my bone out of the wire. And yeah, that I think is all my memories from up there.
Wow. You also had some of your friends in the car, and I know you share super openly about, not only your leg got amputated, but you say the guilt you feel from having your friends in the car is worse than even having your leg amputated.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a great feeling that you put the people you love so much in that kind of danger, obviously, because I would have never purposely meant to.
Right.
You don't want to put people that you love in pain and just hard situations. And so I've really struggled through the past years to get over the guilt of that. It's working slowly to get better, but yeah, I'm just grateful I'm the one that had to lose the leg and then have the arm that doesn't work as well. Because they're like the most long-lasting injuries, and so I'm just glad they don't have any injuries that are like that severe. Like they were severe. I don't know how to put it. Just I guess to the point where they will have forever kind of medical bills or financial struggle for their injuries.
You mentioned so much about just, social media. It's been a blessing, a curse. Like you're in a small town, people are just curious. And you were going through a lot of hardships during the time of the accident. How do you feel like, the guilt, the hardships you're going through, being in a small town, the people saying things on social media, how did that impact your mental health?
Well, I think I struggled a lot before my accident because social media is a bunch of like beautiful people, fake life, like everything's so great, and so I'd watch it and like it would really affect me, and then
Mhm.
I then made my own, or I didn't. My family made me one, and I just started posting on there, and people were nasty. They would comment things of like I was lying or that now I'm crippled, like this will never happen or that will never happen, and um, I don't know. And the hometown would just say rumors and make up things and spread it around. They were great though with being supportive through it. They're just obviously were the few people
Yeah.
that struggled a bit. But social media is for sure like a good thing and can be a really bad thing as well. Depending on who you follow, how you let it affect you. Especially having a following because the more
Yeah.
followers you get, the more haters you get, and so
Right.
it doesn't affect me much anymore. It used to really bad when I wasn't used to. I wasn't used to people up openly being that malicious.
Right.
And so now I just like am used to it, and
Yeah. I feel like
um,
you've taken your social platforms and really used your situation and, brought positivity to it. And your social is a place for people to visit and be comfortable and open to share their hardships that they're going through in
yeah,
life. Have you had people reach out to you in that regard that you've given them the courage to just be open about their struggles and how you overcome them?
yeah. I've had a lot of people reach out, whether it be for them just saying like you're the reason that I've got through my hard time because of your attitude with it, or that sometimes they'll be like, oh, yours is so much harder than mine, but I just also don't believe in that. Like, obviously, like I have had people that will comment, be like, yeah, I sprained my ankle and I just know exactly what you're going through. Like, that's completely different. I don't have a lot of pity for that, but when people like have a genuinely hard thing, that's not necessarily like I would obviously pick that over
Right.
mine. Doesn't mean it's not hard for them. And so if I can help those people that have those really hard situations, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I've had people be like, I really would love to share my story, but I'm nervous of what people think, and I just don't know what to share. And I'm like, you just do. Like, you're gonna
yeah.
have people that are gonna be nasty because it is a minority of a group. Like, we're not normal. We
Mhm.
physically look different. Um, that's not something that's just not known, or we're gonna act like it's not there.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I feel like I have helped people, and I've also made a lot of different friends on social media that have different disabilities that I've
Mhm.
became really close friends with, and I'm just grateful for all those different outlets.
Speaking of just like, getting used to you have a prosthetic leg, correct?
Mhm.
So, not having that and then, having to deal with this and you're still being active and you go rock climbing and you still do all these labor intensive things. Was it
Mhm.
really hard to kind of relearn how to do some of this like normal stuff?
Yeah. Um, so I had an amputation, obviously, and that happened in May when my accident happened. I got out of the hospital in July, and then, if I remember right, I was walking by September or October, which I said was really quick, and I think it could have been quicker, but the nurse actually busted open my leg, and so I
Yeah.
had a big old wound. And so I felt like the walking process actually happened pretty quick for me because I was really determined of like this is what I'm going to do. I had a
Mhm.
goal that I was going to be walking by my senior year. Obviously that was a really hard goal to reach with that big wound I had, but those goals kept me in track of how I was going to accomplish it. I was off of the hand crutch I think within a week, maybe even
Mhm.
less than that. And I was walking on my own. Obviously, it's still a struggle to like I know now my struggle is like my endurance. Um,
Mhm.
I can't walk forever, or I get a really bad walk. I dip really bad, or I don't
Yeah.
bend my knees much, and I kind of swing it because you're just trying to keep up with everyone else around you.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it's definitely been an adjustment, but um, I feel like it hasn't been super hard with me being young and just easy to relearn things.
Good. That's a positive. I know our owner of our company, Shelly, met you at the adaptive training facility. What has adaptive training kind of helped you with? And I know we've even had some other athletes and guests who have done work there and trained there, and I know they do really great things.
Yeah, that was like the most amazing experience ever. I loved ATF. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know. They whooped my butt so bad in all the workouts. I was like, I don't think I've ever worked out this hard in my entire life. And I was like trying to act like I could keep up. I couldn't. Not very good. And they helped me with my gait of walking, of what I could do to adjust my leg to make it easier. And so we figured out I needed to have my leg more underneath me than far out, to make me not dip as bad. And um, they taught me different ways I can move my body and stretch. And the mentality of everyone there was amazing. And I feel like I've already had a good mentality, but even being there went up so much more. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't even know how to explain that place, but I can't wait to go
Amazing.
back and do the program myself.
That's amazing. I know you've had such a positive outlook on things. What have you really like? What are like two things that you've learned from this experience? I know you talk a lot about like silver linings and finding the positive and taking bad situations and seeing the lesson that was taught through it. Are there a few things that you really feel like you've learned through all of this?
Um, there's a lot, but I think one of my biggest things, like I feel like I've always been a really kind person, even before my accident, but at the same time, I still felt like I could be judgmental at times. Like it's
Yeah,
human
everyone.
response, but
Right.
um, I feel like really there's no need to judge someone about what they look like or how they're acting because you have no idea what they've gone through,
Mhm.
um, why they could be acting out that way, and so you just kind of have to love them because um, if you're looking for crap, you're gonna find it in someone. But if you
Yeah.
spend enough time with someone, you'll find something you'll love about them, and you just kind of have to take maybe their little quirks or whatever for what it is. Um, so that's definitely one of just being kind and accepting of whoever
Mhm.
it is. I don't know. There's literally so many different things. Like, um, I don't know. Like on the spot right now.
You're good,
Uh,
you're good. Well, there's another I'm a new mom. So I was watching some of your TikToks and I saw one of your videos where you mentioned like your mom trying to like drive you somewhere the morning of your accident and she kept
yeah,
saying like Kennedy, you should come with me. And then you didn't, and then that night is when it happened.
yeah,
Like, when did you realize like, when did it click for you when you're like, "Oh my gosh, if I would've went with my mom, maybe this wouldn't have happened." I just think mother's intuition is so powerful and it's so real, and so when I saw that, I was like I got goosebumps.
yeah. No, we had some crazy experiences with that. Um, but yeah, the feeling of obviously I know this was supposed to happen and it
Right.
wasn't God's plan. So it was gonna happen regardless at some point. But it was definitely a hard thought of like, dang, if I just would have went with her, this could have been postponed or not happened, or like the course of everything could have changed. Um, but yeah, mother's intuition's crazy.
It's
It was
crazy.
kind of weird. All of our family, kind of before the accident, my brother actually left to go on an LDS mission at that point. Ugh, it wasn't quite a year before the accident.
Mhm.
And yeah, not quite a year. It was almost a year. And when when he was going to leave, I had the most sickening feeling I was never gonna see him again. And I
Oh,
was like, "That's so weird." And so I really struggled when he left. Turns out he told his um, girlfriend at that time and her family that he had the same exact feeling he was never gonna see me again and wasn't sure why, and that he just wanted them to like look after me because I was still going to high school with all her siblings and stuff.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of crazy that like we both had that feeling of we weren't going to see each other again. My mom had a feeling something was bad was going to happen. And then
Yeah.
ironically, my little sister at the time, how old was she? Like 9 years old, saw a helicopter, like a live flight in the air that day. Or it was either that day or the day before, and she was with my older sister and had said, I have a really bad feeling something's coming to our family and we're gonna need one of those. Like a
Oh,
9-year-old said that.
oh my god.
And that was a day or two before the accident, and so it's like all these weird things and just I felt like had been prepared for it
Mhm.
in an odd sense. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, crazy intuition for all of us.
Wow. That is crazy. Um, it just shows too, like, how connected you must be to your family too, and,
Mhm.
um, obviously they all care so much, but like you said, God's plan, right? R Something, bad happened, but a lot of good came from it. Um, is there anything else that you feel like you got to where you are now because of it? I know you're recently engaged, is that correct?
Yes.
That's awesome, congratulations. How
Thank
did you
you.
meet your now, fiancé?
Through his brother. So his brother and then my childhood best friend were dating at the time and set us up. But so now it's kind of awkward because they broke up and we're still together. We'll be at like all the events together. But yeah, we just met through them a
That's
few
so
years
sweet.
ago. So over 2 years ago, and yeah, we're super
It's so
excited.
amazing. And when you talk about, being showing kindness and accepting people as they are, was that ever like a fear of yours, like having your prosthetic leg now? Did you ever have any fears like, oh, is someone gonna be like me for this? Or, like any
Oh
struggles
yes,
innerly with that thought?
yeah. I cried in the hospital over that more than anything, ironically, because I was a girl, 16.
Yeah.
Um, you're just worried about that kind of thing if, oh,
Mhm.
is anyone is gonna love me because I look this way or
Right.
because I won't be able to do certain things, and so I literally would cry about it, and I genuinely believed no one would love me or accept me.
Mhm.
Um, and so I just kind of like desperately sought for that after,
Yeah.
and then I just kind of was like, whatever. Like, I kind of found myself a little bit more, and I was like, I know someone will. And then he came around and he loves me exactly the way that I am. Like,
Mhm.
and I'm just grateful.
It's so sweet. And like you said, it's just everything aligns, right? And it's when you're
Yeah.
not looking for stuff like that, that things fall into place how they should be.
Yeah.
As someone who's just active, I would consider yourself an athlete. You do a lot of activities outside. This is the Athletes Doing Good podcasts. So we just wanted to ask you what athletes doing good means to you.
Um, I feel like what it means to me is putting yourself out there to give hope and courage to those with disabilities that
Mhm.
are too scared or too worried or feel like they can't do it to put themselves out there, so they um just kind of don't have any opportunities
Yeah.
because it is really hard to put yourself out there. Like, I totally understand that, and it's really
Hmm.
hard to try new things, especially when you've been used to doing it one way your entire life and then to just pick up and do it a completely opposite way
Yeah.
or just different. Um, I guess that's what it means to me is like putting yourself out there to give others courage, and um, in the process, you'll end up loving it and appreciating it, and um, I don't know.
That's perfect. I love it. I think that's so true. You're giving courage to other people, and sometimes one person just needs to see someone in a similar situation having the courage to do something, and then it gives them the power within themselves to do other good things. So it's like a ripple effect. So I totally
Yeah,
understand. I think that's so true. Well, we're so happy to have you on today, and thank you for being a warrior and being so courageous and sharing your story. And we hope that it can touch so many other people, um, and to just learn that obstacles happen in life, but you don't have to sit in your obstacles. You can overcome them, and you can do so many great things outside of them. So
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so happy to be on the podcast.